Hello,
Good.
everyone. Hi.
Hello, Hugh. Nice to see you. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Lucy. I hope you're well.
Yes, good, thank you. Very good. Despite the sunshine going away today, I am keeping very well, thank you. And I trust you're keeping healthy and safe during this slightly unusual period of the lockdown that we currently face.
I am, yes. I'm slightly panicking. I'm running out of things to watch on Netflix.
Yes, I know. I'm steadily working my way through Netflix and Amazon Prime. So thank goodness that we have both of them. But we've been very hard at work in the Polo and Tweed family. A lot of my team on the recruitment side are obviously taking a break at the moment because it wouldn't be appropriate for us to introduce clients to candidates during the lockdown. But we have lots of people on the waiting list for when that eases. But we've also been developing our e-learning, which we can talk about in a bit. But first, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us, Hugh. As you know, I run Polo and Tweed, and my team and I work really hard on developing really great relationships with candidates and clients all around the world. And of course, we have the pleasure of meeting you. And I wondered if you could just share with us a little bit about yourself and who you are and your background and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, as well as being a trainer, I'm also a seasoned butler with over 12 years internationally working as a butler.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently have done some retraining and become a Toastmaster and a Master of Ceremonies. And I'm also the proud fellow of the Guild of International Professional Toastmasters.
Fantastic, congratulations. Was that a intensive training to take part in?
It was a 5-day training.
Okay.
But the good thing about joining a guild is you've got ongoing support when needed, particularly when you're doing large events. And it's very important, particularly to get the name, the titles and everything in the correct way. So I've got a really good support. The guild itself was set up by a very famous Toastmaster called Ivor Spencer, who in his day was a Toastmaster for over 1,000 royal events for the Queen and the family.
Wow, that's very, very impressive. So why did you actually decide to become a butler? What sort of made you suddenly wake up one day and think, I know, I'm going to be a butler?
Well, I spent over 23 years in hospitality, working, starting off in Scotland at Turnberry Golf Resort Hotel, now owned by Mr. Trump. This was before Mr. Trump, many years before. And I was very fortunate in hospitality to work on the QE2 when I was 20, where the QE2 was affiliated with the Orient Express, Concorde, and the Waldorf Astoria, and they were wonderful days. And from there, I travelled. I worked in Australia, working some amazing hotels as a cocktail bartender and waiter. And from there, I also was very fortunate to work overseas, and then come back to the UK. So I've been very, very service orientated. The last position in hospitality I had in London was in St James Street, which is a very large venue with over 65 staff. And I always led from the front. I wasn't a general manager working from behind the scenes in an office. And I decided that the only way to really get the job done properly was to do it yourself. So I then investigated, met with some amazing people, and decided to go into the private sector and work as a butler. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked in China, Saudi Arabia, as well as the UK. That's been for the past 12 years, and I love it. Now, to allow me to work as a trainer and also as a Toastmaster, I'm working on a freelance basis. So working at large events and private houses.
Okay, so for anyone who's only ever seen, a butler on, say, Downton Abbey or in Batman, tell everyone what is the role of a butler? What do you actually do?
Well, a butler now, we are modern butlers. The role of a butler now compared to even 10, 15 years ago has changed, because within every household, a lot of jobs are conciliated. So you, rather than just be the butler doing certain duties, looking after silver, service, greeting guests, you're taking on roles that a house manager would do as well. So there's quite a lot of admin, a lot of inventories. It's very important to keep inventories for the family. But you might do a bit of driving, some cooking, housekeeping. You know, if the chef falls ill one day, then you have to be able to step in. So a modern butler really has to be very hands-on and very open to working and supporting other departments.
Okay, so you obviously have to have the right personality and attitude to be able to do the job you do. It surely isn't suited to everyone.
It's not, definitely not. I mean, although I say modern butler, you know, you still, to be a butler, you still should and always have the traditional values. So you have to have, as you say, you have to be very calm. You have to have always be friendly and approachable, but not too friendly. You also need to be very, very well versed with your etiquette, because it's very important to know how to greet, how to look after guests.
Yeah, and presumably things go wrong sometimes, and through your career to date, you've learned how to handle, problem solve, deal with stressful situations. Have there been any sticky situations that you found yourself in?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's one it's a little bit funny now, but it certainly wasn't funny at the time. I was working in a glamorous, beautiful country house in Oxfordshire, and I had a very famous shoe designer with his partner staying at the house, and it was a black tie dinner, and they asked me to press the shirts for them, the dinner shirts, which had these beautiful, beautiful gems, studs, and cufflinks. They were just beautiful shirts. And I'd never worked in this house before. It was the first time. I was just doing it on a freelance basis. So I went to the laundry room, I put the iron on. And like butlers, when we're busy, we're really busy. Rather than testing the iron and make sure the water was fine, I put the iron straight on, and I went to iron. The first shirt I went to iron, all of a sudden, all this brown water came out of the iron all over the shirt. And they were waiting. They were literally going to put those shirts on in an hour's time.
Oh no!
I panicked at the time. About 30 seconds. And I just thought, what would I do at home? So I just went to the sink, just gently, a little soap, water, cleaned it, managed to get all of the stains out, and then I made sure the ironing board, I checked everything this time. I made sure the iron board was fine. I tested the iron, made sure the steam was fine. There's no marks in the iron. And I just slowly, with a dry iron, no steam, and actually dried the shirt at the same time and pressed it. And thankfully, the gentleman isn't any the wiser.
Good. And obviously you learned from that as well. You learned to check your materials and facilities and tools before you begin to use them.
With irons, I mean, if you've ever ironed onto an ironing board that there's a little bit of marking, and sometimes that comes out, you have to, like anything I would normally do under normal circumstances, I would normally check my tools before using them. Sometimes in private houses, you're ironing this shirt, but you should really be downstairs serving teas or stoking the fires, or there's always something to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so if someone wanted to become a butler, if they suddenly thought, you know what, I fancy a change of career, or I'm about to leave school, or I'm done with the city life, I want a new profession, what advice would you give to someone who wants to become a butler?
Well, for your first household, doesn't matter if you've come from a restaurant, you've worked as a hotel butler, or you've come straight from college or school. It's working in someone's home is a very different environment to working anywhere else. And every single house that you work, as you find out in the future, is bespoke to how the client or the family like things done, how they like the beds made, how they like the table set, how they like the food served. So the best advice I could give anyone going into it, if you can, find a house that's large, that has a seasoned head butler or a house manager that's got a lot of butler experience, and learn from that person. Also, they'll give you support, because at the end of the day, if you go into somewhere for the first time and you're really uncomfortable, it could give you such a bad experience. Because being a butler, working in private houses at the highest level of service, is an amazing thing.
Amazing. And do you believe that someone can just walk off the streets and do the job of a butler? Or, I mean, you obviously had a huge background in hospitality that gave you that experience of what it could be like. But, you know, what are your thoughts on training to become a butler?
Training is everything. I was very fortunate, or I was fortunate also, the gentleman I worked with. The last full-time position I had for almost 3 years in Surrey, I had a junior butler who I worked with 2.5 years, and a butler that I worked with for 2 years. And these gentlemen were very new into the career, although they had worked in other houses. And training was everything. It's all about briefings. Every time we had a dinner party, we didn't just brief, we walked through everything. You know, if we were doing tasks and polishing silver, I would show them my experience and take it from the beginning, show them start to finish. But then corrective training as well in that environment is important. But also classroom, like your agency, like Polo and Tweed, are doing amazing training. And I've been very fortunate to be on a couple of your courses, and look forward to when everything's back to normal as well. Being a trainer with you I did a housekeeping course with Polo and Tweed, and I've worked in houses for 12 years. I've been in hospitality for 23 years. I learned so much, and everyone at the training learned so much, because when you do this type of training, what you learn, you have modules, you have point presentations, but there's a lot of practical as well. And the great thing I enjoyed about the training course with lovely Alex, who ran that course, was it was interactive, but also Alex was also up for learning. Oh, that's new ways as well. So just little things. But everyone on that course in particular, they left, and I felt everyone was empowered to go back into their departments and find better ways to do things. Because at the end of the day, we all want to, in private houses, to strive to give the best possible service to our clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's I think the thing that's so exciting about, you know, you working with us as a trainer, and the other amazing trainers you've already mentioned, our head trainer Alex, is that inspiration and joy that we can give to anyone, be it a seasoned veteran like yourself, who, you know, has been in so many beautiful private homes, through to, you know, a graduate or someone that has never worked in the industry, really having the tools to have that confidence to do it right. Because, you know, we all want to be more efficient with things. We want to have better time management, get the job done to a higher standard. So if even a few tips are learned through doing training, you know, I believe it is entirely enhancing for one's own mental capacity, but also, you know, job satisfaction, because in the service industry, as I'm sure you would agree, you want to please, you want to do a good job for the people that you work for, and it's disappointing if you don't, you know, reach the mark. So I mean, I think one of the things that leads me on from that is that sort of idea that you have that interaction in our group training, which all our students love. You know, they love seeing our trainers, they love having that feedback. But as you know, we've recently launched the e-learning platform, and one of the big things that students were perhaps reserved about, they were saying, well, how can we learn silver service online? How can we learn, you know, housekeeping online? How I need to be with you, you need to show me how to set the table. But the way we've created, as you know, is that it's this interactive system. So students partake in the modules, like you've already mentioned. They watch the videos. They then do the quizzes, which are sometimes quite hard, but they have to, you know, really know the content that came before. And then they have to do assignments. And now in these assignments, what's really exciting is that they get to submit work to us. So as our trainer, you log in, you review the assignments once they've sent them into us, and you give them feedback. And it may be that they haven't set the table to your satisfaction, Hugh, and then you can explain to them what it is they need to make and do better to get that real detail in the work. And I think that feedback that we have with the e-learning platform is just so exciting. So I wondered, you know, I'm aware I'm talking a lot, but what is it that you think is positive about this development into the e-learning online training world that we're doing at the moment?
And the e-learning is not only important, and it's not only good at this time where people are self-isolating, they're not going to work, you can't train in a classroom environment. It's not only for that. These actually are very good training platforms for people who are in China, India, Russia, America. It could be anywhere in the world. And I'm always learning. I think the attitude I've always had, and I've always had that attitude that someone, even these young butlers I work with, are always going to teach me something. So the fact that you've got your modules and you've got your presentations, and then you do your exam, and then they give you little video clips of how they do things, and you're giving the feedback. Now the feedback is important, and it's about how you give the feedback, because it's the thing about working with Polo and Tweed and working with the team that I found. It's always done in a positive way. It's always trying to, make people feel better about themselves. So there's always ways of giving that feedback. But generally, with my experience of the modules, the presentations, that actually most people do pretty well.
Absolutely. And I think also there's the timeline element, before the lockdown, people had limited time, as it were. Now we have more time if you're not working during the lockdown. But, with e-learning, what's different to in-person training is, of course, you can learn at your own speed. So, if you're one of these people that likes to just sort of, spend a few, 20, 30 minutes, then go and have a cup of tea and then come back, do a bit more, there is that pressure element that's been removed, because you are in control of your learning journey, which I think is really empowering. So, we all learn in different ways. You might be a visual learner, you might be an auditory learner, you might like to sort of see photos and pictures. It just depends on every individual. And I think the e-learning platform has set up so that it can help, like you said, people in China, people in India, in America, even people, next door neighbors to us. We just can't see at the moment because of the lockdown. So it's really exciting for us.
No, but as you said, Lucy, it's not only for people in the industry. This is something that could be someone that's a housewife that wants to do better for the husband. It could be someone in China who might be sending their children here, or India, sending the children here for education, and they want their children to learn, not to come here and be embarrassed culturally, and how we etiquette, and how we set a table, how we might eat, how we behave, how we talk, is again, it empowers them, and it makes these children, these students, when they come here, it makes them more comfortable. And they want to, like anyone, we want to fit in with our surroundings as quickly as possible. So it could be them, it could be a housewife, it could be a housekeeper in anywhere that wants to learn a better way of doing things. They're amazing, great platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had calls from individuals that just want to know how to do their laundry better and quicker, and likewise, you could be a family, run your own household. You could be an individual man, woman, that just wants to have a more efficient run home. And particularly nowadays that we're becoming much more aware of bacteria and germs, the housekeeping course e-learning platforms have exploded. Everyone wants to learn that. But we have people saying, well, I quite fancy doing the butler e-learning because I'd like to learn about discretion and about telephone etiquette and manners in society, and formal wear, and all the different things that I might need to learn if I was going to a lovely party, or if I was invited to a special event. How do I behave? So it's not, like you say, it's not just for people who are in service, it's for anyone who's really interested in any of these subjects, which is quite cool.
Yeah, in the housekeeping training that I did with the wonderful Alex, we had it was actually, and I was quite surprised initially, we had a lady who's a housewife. She has a baby, and she did the course just because she wanted to run her house better and make her husband happy. And she was taking notes, she took so much in, and when she walked out of there, she learned so much. Because the important thing is the attitude. You have to come in with the right attitude, and you have to want to learn. If someone doesn't want to learn, you can't teach them.
Yeah, No, absolutely. That you've hit the nail on the head on that one. So yeah, so I mean, we're really excited. Of course, people are coming to our website, poloandtweed.com. They're calling us, and hopefully very soon we're going to have the e-learning platform launched on the actual website, so people can purchase it directly through the site. By the time people watch this video, it may already be up there. But we're so excited, and we're so excited, Hugh, for when the lockdown lifts and we can resume training in person, and we can send you to our private clients' homes and yachts and jets around the world, and you can run our group training for us as well, because we love all our trainers. They're close to our hearts in the Polo and Tweed family. So no, it's been such a pleasure to meet with you today. Thank you so much for lifting the lid, a small insight into the wonderful and incredible world that you work within. I'm very blessed to have this time with you, and thank you, Hugh. I wish you a safe and healthy weeks ahead, and we will stay in close contact.
Thank you, Lucy. Stay well and safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hugh. Take very good care.